Well, I've received emails, and emails, and emails, and emails of people all asking me to review this one specific movie. So, without further ado, Equestria Girls. Good or bad? Okay, so defending this movie is probably going to lead me into a minefield of hatred, and I'm probably going to set some people off by doing this review. And much like Twilight, it has its fair share of hatred going towards it out in the majority of the fandom. And having actually seen it, I can safely say it's alright. Well, okay, it's not necessarily good, but it's not necessarily horrible either. It's not the greatest movie in the world, far from it in fact, but it's nowhere near what I generally review. So how does it hold up exactly? Well, the Rotten Tomatoes audience gives it an 82%, and IMDb gives it a 6.4 out of 10. But honestly, I do believe that Rotten Tomatoes is being a bit too nice, and IMDb is being a bit too cruel on this one. In my professional opinion, it ranks in at about, say, a 7.5 or so, or maybe an 8. However, the film certainly does fall short of being a masterpiece. It certainly does have its flaws in there. Namely, the villain. This character is revealed way too early in my opinion. Also, the whole conflict behind it just seemed a bit too, I don't know, it was just seeming like more the same. Some person wants to take over the world again. But honestly, she's still not a bad character. She has a backstory, she has character development in there, she's not necessarily a bad antagonist. She doesn't necessarily look like the role of an antagonist either, but it still works. She still does the job just fine. So what about the rest of the movie? Well, there's certainly no shortage of humor that we're used to seeing from the regular show, and certainly Pinkie Pie is no less spastic than normal. So really, I'm having trouble finding why people hate it so much. It's certainly not the greatest thing out there, but it's certainly not the worst. Of course, if you held it up to a larger title such as, say, Iron Man 3, I'd probably go see Iron Man 3 instead of Equestria Girls. And likewise, if you were to hold it up to, say, Spy Kids 4, I would go see Equestria Girls because Spy Kids 4, oh my god, shoot me. So is it necessarily okay to hate this movie? Well, not really. Honestly, it could help change some pretty biased opinions. The movie itself is anything but what it was depicted as originally. It's anything but a high school drama. And Twilight. Sweet Celestia, thank you for Twilight. Even if she only appears at the beginning and end of the film, it definitely does help clear up some pretty biased opinions that people had against Twilight. Honestly, I stopped hanging out with her after the whole coronation thing, but that's besides the point right now. Now, if I'm gonna be nitpicky on one thing, it's the love interest in this movie. It's barely thrown out there, if thrown out there at all. Honestly, it's barely there at all. It just seemed sort of mixed in the whole slew of events that was going on at the time. So really, the love interest was a swing and a miss. But again, it's not a bad movie. It's just not the best movie out there. It doesn't necessarily hold up to blockbuster films of this day and age, but then again, it does seriously define itself in that it does have ways of defining itself. So, final opinion? Check it out. It's not that great of a film, but then again, it's also not that bad. My name is Hunter, and this has been a Hunter Review.